The House Committee on Homeland Security convened on the campus of Stanford University recently to discuss innovation in cybersecurity. Chairman Mark Green kicked off the hearing with his opening remarks.
According to a report by IBM, the global average cost of a data breach in 2024 was nearly $4.9 million. In many cases, to inflict multi-million-dollar damage on U.S. businesses, attackers only need some degree of technical knowledge and a laptop, a fraction of the costs faced by their victims.
Leaders and innovators from Google, Palo Alto Networks, the Hoover Institute, and Startup Corridor were invited to testify under oath. They outlined the current threat and possible solutions.
In recent years, responses to adversary state attacks have been slow and inadequate. We must maintain competitive advantage in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and other technologies relevant to cybersecurity and the associated protection of critical infrastructure.
Consider this. Every single day, Palo Alto Networks blocks up to 31 billion cyber attacks. Up to 9 million of those daily attacks represent novel attack methods never previously seen. To stay a step ahead, relentless innovation must be central to our cyber defenses. Innovation with AI at its core has the potential to disrupt the legacy status quo of chasing each new threat with an isolated, disjointed solution.
Congressman Green started his line of questioning by acknowledging the public's lack of awareness and the threat of foreign adversaries to do harm.
One of the things that shocks me is how uninformed the American people seem to be on just how pervasive the attacks against this nation are in cyberspace. They literally have a kill switch in the system right now, and nobody's making a big deal out of it.
My viewpoint on this has been from 20 years of responding on the ground to some of the most major breaches that have occurred in the last 2 decades. And, many of those when I started my career in the military were highly classified investigations that no one talked about and certainly couldn't be talked about in open dialogue. And so that certainly contributed to the lack of awareness from the public. I think it is a great movement in the right direction that we now can have such an open dialogue. But the reality is, in addition to the lack of awareness, I think one of the things that we unfortunately do today is punish the victims. So what I mean by that is when we, for example, a bank robbery, we oftentimes don't publish that on the news and blame the bank for, having an armed robber come in at gunpoint and a teller provide them some funds that are in their tray. But when the media gets hold of cases of cybercrime and these massive intrusions, we do often do that.
To combat cyber attacks on businesses, the witnesses proposed solutions like secure by design and better accountability from software providers. Ranking member Gabberino commented on the crucial role AI will play in defending against cyber attacks, but also raised concerns that AI could introduce new vulnerabilities.
Everything we have now it's out there. We're, secure by design. You got to go back and fix it. AI is still being developed. So what do we do?
On the one hand, we have to recognize that there's competition, and we want American companies and American economic leadership in AI. And so we have to ensure that that is continued to be incentivized. And at the same time, AI has a lot of potential for improving our cybersecurity capabilities. There's a tremendous amount of noise that cybersecurity defenders have to deal with. I think you talked about this a lot. And so using AI to be able to help them sift that signal out of the noise. We have security operators that spend lots of time doing things that could be automated instead of, taking that to the next level of critical thinking of what could be done. So there's a lot of opportunity with AI to improve security. What I would just offer is, so at Google, we've put out what we call Secure AI Framework, which was based off of our own internal work in both leveraging AI for ourselves, but also understanding and learning a lot of lessons about securing AI. So we've put that out, and we're working and built a coalition with a lot of other companies for the use of secure AI in open sourcing solutions to help organizations protect against some unique areas of AI that sometimes cross over also into safe use of AI. Recognize that. A lot of AI security is still the same security. You still need to do the same things that we need to do in general, but there are some novel things for AI. So I'd offer that the work that the coalition is doing and some of the standards that attempting to drive through OASIS and other foundations might be a good place to start if you're thinking about what those standards should look like for AI.
We do have to recognize that much like humans writing code can introduce vulnerabilities, so can AI. And I think we have a really great opportunity to get in at the start, at the point when these models are being trained, at the point where these tools are just starting to take off and build safeguards in place. So I think, for instance, we're focusing particularly on the case of helping secure as companies are adopting AI for writing code and enabling them to write code 5, 10, many times faster, to have some guardrails in place. To Ms. Manfra's point, both in terms of the security of AI systems, but also the vulnerabilities that AI can introduce. The vast majority of the time, this isn't going to be anything new. It's going to be the same classes of vulnerabilities that we've known about for decades, we've been struggling with for decades, and yet we've known how to prevent them at scale. So I think this gives us a really great opportunity to begin to put some of the actions that, for instance, Google, other companies have really pioneered to root out entire classes of vulnerabilities and make sure that AI is designing software that is secure by design and is more resilient to these attacks from our adversaries.
Congressman Swell of California was also in attendance. The congressman wanted to know more about the part the federal government can play in aiding research and development.
Could you speak to the role that the federal support for technology has had on cybersecurity innovation, particularly as it relates to academic research, and if anyone else wants to add to that?
Well, obviously, the research programs in our universities have been one of our greatest competitive advantages. Our ability to develop technologies, but then spin those technologies out so entrepreneurs can take those technologies and put them into action in terms of real capabilities that give us our greatest differential advantage. It's our innovation and then our ability to combine that innovation with our unbridled entrepreneurship. And so the universities enable our free market advantages. The other critical aspect of it is the development of human capital. And I think one of the most disappointing things that we've seen recently is the degree to which we've lost a lot of critical expertise within the government, expertise that was developed in institutions like this, that was serving with great distinction in the government. Mr. Cable mentioned this already. But then also where there is a tremendous opportunity here in the academy is to attract the best talent from within our country, certainly, but internationally as well. So the impediments we've seen to bringing in the best minds and then to provide them with the kind of education that can help give us a differential advantage. And then, of course, the other part of that is the visa process and immigration reform that would allow us to take advantage of. I think nobody's trying to immigrate to China, right? So this is one of our greatest competitive advantages. So I'm concerned. Of course, there are a lot of efficiencies to be gained, probably in academia and research. Maybe too much overhead. I think there's reform is necessary, but certainly we don't want to give up that differential advantage in human capital, technology, and innovation.
To keep up to date on all the latest Congress news, stay tuned to Congress Clips. And if you want more content like this, please like and subscribe.